أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So, inshallah, we will continue with our discussion on the wisdom behind seeking refuge in God from Satan. Last week, we started and talked about 10th indication, but you might get lost. So let's reread it and see where we are. Either we continue with the next, or if you would like to slowly go through it once more, we can give it another try. So open 10th indication, inshallah. And
Flash is 13 flash 10th indication.
And inshallah, we will start with questions and comments from you guys. Where is the other microphone? And who wants to read? Oh, Natalie is ready to read, I feel like. Okay, let's read it with a pace that you can understand. Okay? If you need to read it, some parts, if you were to understand while reading, feel free to do that. No.
10th indication. One of the most cunning of Iblis's wiles is to make those who follow him deny himself. Since at this time, those whose minds have been tainted by materialist philosophy, in particular, have been hesitant in these self-evident matters, we shall say one or two things in the face of this stratagem of Satan's. They are as follows. There are self-evidently corporeal evil spirits who perform Satan's functions. So too, it is certain, to the same degree, that there are evil spirits without bodies from the jinns. If they were clothed in physical bodies, they would be the same as those evil human beings. Also, if those evil spirits in human form were able to leave aside their bodies, they would be those jinn Satans. Even, it is as a consequence of this terrible relationship that one false school pronounced, after they have died, excessively evil spirits in human form become devils. It is well known that when something of high quality is corrupted, it becomes more corrupted than something of less quality. For example, if yogurt and milk go bad, they may still be eaten. But if butter goes bad, it becomes inedible, and even like poison. Similarly, if the most noble, indeed the highest of creatures, man, is corrupted, he becomes more so than a corrupted animal. Like vermin, who enjoy the stink of putrefying matter, and snakes, who take pleasure at biting and poisoning, they take pride and pleasure at the evils and corrupt morality of the swamp of misguidance. Being gratified at the harms and crimes of the darkness of evil doing, quite simply, they take on the nature of Satan. Yes, a decisive indication of the existence of devils from the jinn is the existence of human Satans. Secondly, all the hundreds of decisive evidences proving the existence of angels and spirits and spirit beings in the 29th word prove also the existence of evil spirits. We refer this aspect to that word. Thirdly, the existence of the angels, who are like the representatives and supervisors of the laws of the good matters in the universe, are established and agreed upon by all the religions. So too, the existence of evil and satanic spirits, who are the representatives and ushers of evil matters and the means of the laws of such matters, is required by wisdom and reality, and it is certain. Indeed, in evil matters, a conscious screen is more necessary. For as is stated at the beginning of the 22nd word, since everyone cannot see the true good of everything, the all-glorious Creator has made apparent intermediaries as a screen in respect of apparent evils and defects, so that objections should not be leveled at him, nor his mercy be accused, nor his wisdom criticized or unjustly complained about. And so that objections, criticisms, and complaints should be directed at the screen and not turned to the generous creator, the absolutely wise one. Just as he has made illness a screen to the appointed hour of death in order to save Azrael from the complaints of his servants who die, so too he has made Azrael a screen to the sizing of the spirits of the dying, so that the complaints at that situation, which is fancied to be lacking in compassion, should not be directed to Almighty God. And even more certainly, Dominical wisdom demanded the existence of Satan, so that objections and criticisms in the face of evils and bad things should not be directed to the all-glorious Creator. Fourthly, as man is a small world, the microcosm, so is the world a large human being, the macroanthropos. Small man is an index and summary of the macroanthropos. The large originals of samples in man will necessarily be found in the macroanthropos. For example, the existence of man's faculty of memory is a certain indication of the existence of the preserved tablet in the world. So too, everyone has experienced in himself the inner faculty situated in a corner of the heart, which is the means to diabolical suggestions and temptations, and satanic tongue, which speaks through the promptings of the imagination and the corrupted power of imagination, which becomes like a small Satan and acts contrary to its owner's will and opposed to his desires. These are certain evidences to the existence of great Satans in the world. And since the inner faculty, which is the means to diabolical suggestions and the power of imagination, are an ear and a tongue, they infer the existence of an external evil individual who blows on the one and makes the other speak.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you. I think I understood after you read, so that's good. So, last week we made an intro about angels quite a bit, since one of the central points that author was making is all the proofs that pertains to existence of angels would also apply for existence of Satan in another sense. So this is why last week's discussion was a little bit focusing on the angels more. Before we start for today with my questions, do you have comments or questions from last week? Or maybe confusions or any comments from last week? Because there were puzzled faces after the discussion, understandably, last week. And if you were not to be kind, as you usually are, what would you say? If there's anything as such, let's listen to. And Sister Zareen wants to say something.
I guess for me, one of the points of confusion was around like kind of confirming the presence of angels. Like one of the questions we kind of started out with was like, why should I care if Satan exists or if like angels exist? What does it mean for me in my daily life? And I think another kind of follow-up question was like, what if I just experience things as coming directly from God? Like there's no messenger in the mix. Like it's just a message directly to me from God, and I don't see the need for angels or other just messengers in general. And I think what I got from like the discussion and kind of thinking about it like later on was that the reality of our lives is that the only way we can interact with things is through messages, through messengers. Like that's how that's like the starting point is what we experience comes in the form of a message. Like there's no like jumping directly to it's coming from God. We went through a lot of examples to be like, what is God in the first place? So I guess the point there was maybe like starting more from our experiences and seeing that we don't just experience the physical reality as a bunch of like numbers and shapes and objects. There's meaning behind everything we interact with. And so that points to something being conveyed to us. And if there's something being conveyed, there must be a medium by which it's conveyed and or some sort of consciousness there that we interact with. So that was maybe some reflections on some of the stuff that confused me and maybe something that I got out of it.
جزاك خيرا. Natalia.
So I just wish this can be like a brief explanation. I'm still a little bit confused on how to like I hear what you're saying, but I'm still confused in the aspect of I don't really think that Allah should talk to me like directly. Like of course I experience the creator through his creation, but I thought that like in the past couple months I've been coming, we've decided that the creation is a mirror of the creator. A mirror doesn't need like I just hope you can understand my confusion. A mirror doesn't need a speaker. A mirror doesn't need someone to speak for itself for itself for what it's trying to convey. It's a mirror, right? It's direct from the source, mirror me. So I think that that's where I'm struggling to understand where this spirit of things comes in, because we said that again with the tomato. I'm not sure if it's funny anymore, but we were saying that angels are as the spirit of the tomato. But the way I think, and I'm really stuck on it, like the tomato is just a mirror, right? Like it speaks to me. That's how I think that Allah speaks to me, through the tomato, not like through a spirit. I don't know. So I just want to like maybe like clear that up for me.
So, any other comments? Since we opened up the can of worms, we have another question here.
Going off of like what Natalia said, like, so when I read this first last week, it feels like I don't see all these things as messengers, but instead it seems like, oh, Allah put this as a screen, so all this like would not be blamed on Allah. Like for death, he put a screen of Azrael. But why wouldn't, like, what is wrong with attributing death to Allah? Like, why can't it be directly attributed to him? Why does there need to be a screen? And there was, I believe there was another example, and I had a similar question with that too. Like, why is there a need for a screen there too? Like, why can't it just be directly attributed to Allah? Yeah, sorry, like I think when they said Satan, like, so that objections and criticisms in the face of evils and bad things should not be directed at, like, since everything is from Allah and all the creation is from Allah and we're from, like, how come, like, it's hard for me to understand, like, why not to Allah? Like, why can't we direct all this to Allah?
Very good. And a question is brewing in Sister Zareen. We can give time. Okay, go ahead.
I was just thinking a bit more about Natalia's question and the what she brought up about like the mirrors. So I guess the way I think I'm understanding it is that yes, things are mirrors, but my relationship is not with just the mirror itself. It's with what's reflected back. So I guess there's something that has to be reflected to me from the mirror that is delivering like the like let's say taking the example literally, like light is reflected from the mirror, and then that light has to reach me for me to even understand like what's in the mirror in the first place. So I guess I kind of thinking about it, maybe trying to expand upon that, like there is still something that has to reach me from the mirror. I don't know if that would helps at all.
But wouldn't that understanding be through Allah only?
So can we make it a little practical? Because I think the example, or maybe the abstract explanation, is what might make us get lost. What do we mean by spirit of tomato, let's say? When I am talking to Ahmed, I do not separate body of Ahmed, spirit of Ahmed. Ahmed is Ahmed, right? And when I'm interacting with Ahmed, there is something in me which physically touches it. But when we are talking to each other, there's another thing that touch each other, which is I say, I really like this guy. Like this part we call as our soul, right? Like our souls sort of locked in or something of that sort. Like there is an aspect of this guy, which I also have. And from this frequency now we are touching each other. It's not our physicality, right? But when it comes to tomato, when I look at the tomato, I say, I like this guy. But I feel like the tomato is just physical. Like there's no other thing in this tomato that I interact with. And it just feels like it's a dead corpse, but I impose myself on it. It's not imposing itself on me. Like when I'm interacting with Ahmed, I put something forward, Ahmed put something forward on me as well. And this is why if Ahmed was a dead body, it would be just one way. Now, relatively, we can understand this is why I'm saying when he was dead. When this spirit component, or let's call it other component, whatever component you would like to call it, name is not that significant, but in English it's called spirit. The spirit of this guy is what, since I have one such side as well, this is how we are communicating. This is the mirror in here. Like Ahmed's spirit is also a mirror. I'm not saying that Ahmed's body is a mirror and I don't need his spirit. No. Like Ahmed's spirit is yet another mirror. Like there are multiple mirrors here, but spirit is part of it as well. When it comes to tomato or anything out there, like this conscious, because I'm having a conversation with it, it is saying that, hi, Yusuf, you can eat me, or like with its color inviting me, and then I go there. If I ask a question to this tomato, like if I ask, who made you? Actually, we studied this in this discussion as well, right? We started from particles and we asked them questions. And the particle said, whomever did me must be the one who does the entire universe and whatnot. We were having a conversation with the things in the existence, right? So the thing is now, am I cooking up what they would say, or are they actually saying it? Like if I were to ask Ahmed, how are you? Did I make this up or did he say it? He said, Alhamdulillah, I'm good. Like, did I make this up or was this something that he expressed? Clearly he did, right? But when it comes to tomato, is it that when tomato says, whomever made me can only be the one who makes the entire universe? Is this something, am I cooking up? Or it is saying, and by listening to it, reading to it, it's not only with this ear that we hear, with these ears, like eyes we hear sometimes, because the speech is being in a different language, right? Like body language and whatnot, but it's expressing something to me. This is the part, like such a thing is out there. I am not making it up by myself. The whole existence is consciously expressing a meaning. This is like this aspect of creation is being mentioned in the Quranic language as angels or ruh or malaika.
And I raised my hand because I think you concluded very well. I'd like to continue from there. So maybe like sometimes when we talk about the angels, sometimes we directly start talking about the meaning, etc. And as you said, it becomes so abstract. Like, are you saying that there's meaning in the word, and I will call these meanings as angels, etc. But when we shift our focus to conscious, I guess things will become relatively easier to follow, maybe. Let's put the meaning aside for a moment, and let's focus on the word conscious, like something that is aware of its surrounding. Okay, that's what conscious means. Aware of the surrounding and interact with it. Right? That's what it means. And when author talks about the screens or mirrors, for instance, in the text, he says conscious mirrors, conscious screens. He does not just say screen, right? The conscious screen. I think that's the important one. It will make us maybe understand easier. So I will give a very silly example from a sci-fi book. Okay. So let me highlight this part first. The example is just to make things easier to understand. I'm not saying that what I'm going to give as an example explains angels or anything, okay? Just to make things easier to understand. So the Foundation series, Isaac Asimov, in one of the books, the later books, like it's 7 or something books there, right? 5, I believe. Anyway, I'm not sure. So there's a planet, so-called planet, called Gaia. Okay? There, everything is conscious, everything is so connected. The guy goes, and the habitant of, or I don't know, a local of Gaia, gives the guy a special glasses and say that with these glasses you can see the emotions as colors. Okay? He looks at the people, he sees some colors, etc. And then he looks at wall. There are, again, some colors there too. And the guy is surprised, like it's a wall, but this glass is showing me the emotions. And the Gaian person says, of course, man, like everything in the universe have some emotions. This wall has some feelings appropriate for a wall. For instance, if it's a well-made wall, he says, the wall would feel fine, happy in wall's language, right? But if it's a badly made wall, for instance, or something broken, etc., the wall will feel bad. Back pain, like back pain, yes, exactly. And that's how he explains, etc. So when I read these texts, it doesn't matter whether it is true or not. Again, example is just an example. But the narration does not make me confused. When I read the text, I understand what they mean. Like you just understood what I meant, right? All of you, except why this guy is reading this kind of book. That's another topic. But other than that, you all understood what I meant with that. Why? Because I just talked about walls, emotions, awareness, consciousness, glass, whatever, and my interaction with the wall. That's all I talked about. Things that I can understand easily, right? When I narrate something with the words that we all can understand, then we can also understand what is narrated as well. Is it clear? So, yeah. So why I'm saying this, because I apologize in advance, like keep repeating the same thing again and again. But this is first and foremost a reminder for myself. If we want to understand the topic, even in religion, even when it comes to iman, the belief, we have to talk and think with the words, with the ideas that we can understand. If we want to understand something in belief and we keep talking about Allah, Allah makes this, Allah make that, Allah speaks to us this way, Allah sends us this way, and that, we prevent ourselves from understanding the topic. Right? We can talk about Allah when we, for instance, recite something to remind ourselves. We read Quran, for instance, right? Sometimes only to remind ourselves what is the conclusion, what is the truth, then we can just read it. Like, for instance, a recitation of Quran is a good deed, right? But even just listen it without even understanding, it's a good thing. Why? It reminds us certain things, right? But reminder shouldn't and cannot replace explanation. If we want to understand something, we have to use explanations, not invoke reminders. So then what we're going to do is we will talk about the life that we experience. Okay? Even when we talk about angels, right? If Quran is talking about the angels, Quran must be talking about something that I experience. Otherwise, Quran wouldn't talk about it. Quran wouldn't, or my creator wouldn't put me in a position that I've been told something, but I cannot make sense of it. And why you told me first place, right? If there's a mention of angels, it means there is a way in my life that I can understand it. That must be. That's my expectation. So then let's go back to our topic and do something like Isaac Asimov did. Okay? Let's try to understand the reality with the words, with the things that we can make sense of it. And when I look at the reality, as Yusuf said, like starting with human beings, the easiest example, I say human beings are aware of their environments, other creations, and they can interact with them, and they affect others, etc. Right? And I use the word conscious to explain this phenomenon. When I look at animals, for instance, I see the same thing. I say animals are conscious beings. Right? If I look at the plants, and if you are educated enough, you will easily say that the plants are no different at all. They are aware of their surroundings, right? They interact with the surrounding. With plants, you even see that they enjoy certain things, they don't enjoy certain things. And this word enjoy, you do not use it just loosely. They really enjoy something. That's your impression. From your perspective, you say, let's say, if you put them in a certain part of your room, right, you see that they flourish. Even their colors, like sometimes they flourish, but sometimes they flourish plus their colors are so vivid. And you can say that they enjoy this spot even more. Right? So you can continue this logic, and when you study your environment with a careful eye, with all your faculties, meaning how you feel, how you the imagine things, what your desires tell you, how you interact with things, etc., you quickly realize, even with the pillow, right? There is such an, the part of it or aspect of it, whatever the word is, that as if it is aware, right? It is conscious. And we're just talking about the pillow being conscious. Like in the sense that when I mistreat this pillow, if I take it and throw it away, of course the host Yusuf will get angry, but I also feel bad. Why? It's just a pillow. Who cares whether it is here or there? Preservation of mass. It was before there, here, and then there. Still same amount of mass, same amount of energy, whatever. Who cares? I do. Something with me, right, cares about it. Just like if you slap Yusuf, right, I would care, I would feel bad. Something with me. Because I'm a conscious being. When a conscious being is hurt, my consciousness would tell me this is bad. Same thing if you kick this pillow with no reason, I would feel so bad. Not because of economical reasons or anything. It's still the same pillow, but my consciousness wouldn't take it, nice, fine. So with just saying that, in this creation, everything has this conscious aspect. Everything. What it is, why it is there, etc., it's another question. But everything has this consciousness, right? This is important. Why? Because we, educated people, so-called educated people, deny that so bad. Right? We deny that so bad. For us, the creation is just one-dimensional. Numbers, as beautifully said. I mean, we're not talking not even the physical things, right? Yes, they are physical, but even if they are not physical, we just say they are just numbers. Feelings, for instance. There's no such thing as consciousness, even with human beings, we say. What you call as a consciousness, it's just, the firing of certain neurons, a few chemicals, traveling around, etc. If I tell this for Ahmed, you would react so negatively. You would say, how dare you talk, about my husband as just a bunch of atoms, some chemicals. You would say, no, he has this conscious aspect that I constantly interact with. So now, our Creator, in his revelation, the speech, he tells us, don't forget, everything in this creation has consciousness. Everything. Forget about, the spirit of the tomato, whatever. Tomato has this consciousness awareness. And tomato talks with you. Again, forget about Allah talk to me, whatever. No. This is what you experience. Talk about what you see. Tomato talks to me. That's all you know. Revelation reminds us this. Why? Because this is so important. Only when something is conscious, only when something talks to us, can bring us something meaningful. So, again, that's what I understand from when Revelation talks about angels. Revelation is telling me everything in this creation has consciousness. Everything in this creation has a purpose, has a feeling, has a whatever you want to put there, but conscious, just like Ahmed.
Jazakallah khairan. Yes.
I'm sorry. The reason why I asked it again today and not
Not
just keep
let
it
it
to
go.
myself is because, like Brother Began very beautifully said, I'm here to understand, right? I'm not just here to be here for the very good food that you guys serve. It's because I have to understand, and even when I took your class, I'm trying to understand what you're saying in terms that, like, in words that I do relate to, right? So I became very anxious last week when we're talking about something that I don't feel I experience, or I'm unaware that I experience, because maybe I don't understand I don't relate to the words that are being used. So I'm trying to like put it in words that I can relate to, or put it in words that describe an experience that I then become aware that I do experience, right? So with what you said, I don't know if it's totally right yet, or maybe we might have to talk about it later. But would the angel then be like the message that's being like brought down? Like, would it be the message behind the creation?
I think it's fair to say that in one sense. So the important part here is like there are a few things. This is why we are jumping up and down from different angles, because if we were to really talk about who human is, who Ahmed is, there are various ways you can describe Ahmed. This is why we are coming up with different descriptions. We are not really talking about one and only same thing since last week, because there are really different aspects. One aspect that Brother Birkan was highlighting was it's a conscious thing for itself. Ahmed is a conscious thing for itself. This is one aspect of what we are seeing in Ahmed. But also Ahmed is interacting with me in a conscious way as well. Like what I'm trying to say with this is tomato, like this applies to Ahmed. We can also frame it as such. Why does it not apply to tomato? Let's put it this way. Why does it not apply to tomato? I am being given this consciousness. Is tomato not given consciousness? You can ask the question as such, because with my consciousness, I get to know my creator. How about tomato? Who is tomato's creator? Who is going to know tomato's creator? Is it only me who will know tomato's creator? Or is there going to be other conscious beings who is going to know the maker of the tomato, the creator of the tomato, right? Who knows the creator of Natalia the best? You can know the creator of Natalia the best because you're looking at it from inside. All I can say is about outside. So if there's going to be an expert of getting to know of Natalia's creator, it is you. This is what you are appointed with, actually. I can ask the same question for tomato. How about creator of tomato? Who is going to know this best? Since he put me in here again at the center is my own experience. To understand creator of Yusuf, because Yusuf is different than Birkan, right? So this is a specific creation that I am in, that I am observing. Since he made me he appointed me to figure out what that means, I can ask the same question for tomato. The tomato itself, what does it mean to be a tomato? What sort of divine names are being reflected there? So this is one aspect. There must be a conscious being in tomato, and in I am here using in loose terms, but that is appointed to praise the creator by being a tomato. This is why last week I was using the term of spirit of tomato, because now you can relate to it. You know what it means to be spirit of Natalia, but it doesn't stay there. It's not only that it is conscious for itself. This is one aspect of being conscious and aware of the creator. The other aspect is it's conscious of its environment and interacting with its environment, just like I am interacting with Ahmed. So this aspect of existence is understood to be as angels. So in this regard, as we are not really distinguishing Ahmed versus Ahmed's body, I just call it Ahmed. And in fact, I mean, if you like, more so Ahmed's spiritual aspect, if you like. When I say tomato, if I start looking at it with this lens, actually what I am meaning more is the tomato angel, in a sense. And when it comes to prophetic narrations, we do see that prophet is talking about an angel that's appointed for a cloud, an angel appointed for animals, like the, if you like, the shepherd of animals, or an angel of thunder. Like, what does this mean? What does prophet say? It's saying that there exists a conscious being which is aware of what it means to be a thunder, but it's also speaking to me. And to the extent that I become aware of that, like what is its significance to me? Now let's come to there. Because even if I haven't heard about such an explanation and whatnot, thunder was there, tomato was there, and I was enjoying tomato. I was getting afraid of thunder. But what is the utility of that? For this, I'm going to give another silly example. So you guys know Dr. Ali. Some of you guys have seen him, like an old gentleman. But he wears very normal clothes, not so fancy clothes. Let's put it this way. And he lives in New York. If you were to see him in New York subway, probably you would avoid him. Like you would say that this is like a poor guy. You never know. He might have some sort of a, like he might try to kill me, ask for money. You never know. And he's a good guy, definitely. He is an old guy, at least. I mean, you can say that this person is like, and old people are generally, once they start talking, they never stop. They talk about their kids, grandkids, the old guy. So you just pretend as if, even if he's sitting next to you, you pretend as if he's not there, right? And you just focus on your phone. Even if he's trying to ask you some question, you just look more at your phone, like you intentionally avoid him because you think that he is an empty guy. He doesn't have anything to give to you, right? But if I were to tell you that, oh, this guy has a PhD in his political science plus religion, and he has been studying religion for the past 40, 50 years, and he is this kind of a deep guy and that guy, then he's not now I'm showing that he has a spirit in this example. And even if you were to sit next to this guy during 2 or 3 subway stations, you would try to get whatever you can get out of this guy. Because now there's a dimension in this guy that you started appreciating, which you were not appreciating before. He was sitting right next to you, but now you started seeing that actually there is more in this guy than what appears to be. This is how we are doing with tomato. When it comes to tomato, all we care about is the taste. We don't see anything further, right? But if I start seeing tomato as a messenger, now I'm using the term messenger for the tomato, but you now read it as it's a messenger which has not just a corpse, but it has a spirit. By spirit, I refer to your spirit. So it has a counterpart which matches you. This is why I'm using the term spirit. Now try to listen to this tomato. Like belief in angels opens up this window saying that this tomato is not a stupid tomato. Actually, it's a messenger of my creator. I need to listen to the tomato. What do you say? This is why in Sufi literature, they would talk with plants, and the Turkish guys maybe would know, there are famous poems which talks to, even it became like a children's song. I asked to yellow flower, do you have father, mother, whatever, it goes on like this. Like people do talk to flowers because they do expect that the flower tell me something about its maker. So it now becomes otherwise, in today's society, what is this called? Schizophrenia. Like you're talking to flower, like, are you nuts? Right? They were not nuts, actually. They were listening to, talking to flower, prophet. We take it as a miracle. Prophet ﷺ talked with his camel, or within the masjid, when they made a new mimbar, Prophet ﷺ started to give his khutbah in the mimbar. But before this, he used to be leaning to a trunk of a tree, dead tree's trunk. It's a dead tree. But then once he started giving khutbah in the new mimbar, people all started hearing the crying sound from this trunk. What does this signify? So these are the things that now we need to think twice. So in this existence, everything must be alive. This is the conclusion. Alive, conscious, like these are now, we are using these as synonyms. Everything, whatever is deemed to be called a thing in this existence, must be alive, conscious, carry me a message in the sense of being a messenger. Because if Ahmed is a messenger, what would be Ahmed will come with his body and spirit, and I mean Ahmed will come to the room and say that Birkan told this, right? So tomato comes and tells me that your creator loves you. This is what tomato says. Your creator is a sustainer. Your creator is caring about you. This is what that tomato tells me. So this is what we mean when we say angels being messenger. Like, things are getting a little too abstract when we get to message and messenger. What was said was correct, but we are getting lost in there. But when we say tomato is a messenger, yes, indeed, tomato is a messenger. Just like Ahmed brings you a rose, that rose itself is a messenger, Natalia, right? When he gives you a rose, you can take it as a message. The rose is a message, but in another sense, rose is a messenger. What message does it give you? Oh, Ahmed loves you. This is like, in this regard, message versus messenger, things might be getting lost in there, but don't get lost in the syntax. But I think the message is a little clear.
We can also say the same thing by asking whether a tomato or a pillow, does it have anything to tell me, to say to me? Or is it just a pillow? That's the difference, right? So in a life where you are the only one who is alive and conscious, nothing else has anything to tell to you. Right? And what you would think, I look at the things and I infer or I make some ideas out of them. That's how you will look at the creation, how you look at the life. But when you realize that everything is alive, everything has a consciousness, then you start asking, what do you have to tell me? Right? Now you can ask this question. Now you can learn something from them. That what was our the guy in example previous months when we studied, the guy were traveling across the universe, looking at the mountains, looking at the skies, asking them who created you, etc. Right? You can take such a journey only when you realize that everything is alive, everything is conscious. That's the reason belief in angels is a fundamental pillar of the belief. Because if the creation is just one-dimensional, a fridge is just a fridge. If this is the case, fridge cannot tell you anything. You just look at the fridge and make up some, the stories. And you cannot, what is the word? You cannot build belief on top of stories. You have to, establish belief on top of facts that you experience firsthand. So if a fridge is just a fridge, it cannot tell you anything. It cannot become a message for you. It cannot, convey any meaning to you. You just look at the fridge and you just make up some stories. You make up some stories. And again, don't think about, oh, Allah, no, it's Allah creates my ideas, whatever. Forget about that now. Right now, you don't know anything about the Allah who created. You're just looking at the creation. And you're trying to understand, who's my maker? So you are asking the fridge, who's your maker? And you can ask such a question only if you see this conscious aspect of the fridge.
And Imam Nursi mentions a very interesting hadith narration about angels, which might clarify. So in a hadith narration, Prophet ﷺ talks about an angel which has, I will cook up the numbers, but the meaning is more or less like this. An angel which has 7 heads. In each head, it has 7 tongues, and in each tongue, it praises God with 1,000 languages or 1,000 different ways. So it sounds like a multi-headed, like what's it called? Those yeah, those mythological creatures, right? Remember, says after I looked at the tree that was planted before my house, and I saw that the tree has 7 main branches. And I paid attention to one of the branches, it had 7 sub-branches. And in each branch, I have seen, let's say, 100 flowers. And I looked at each flower, I see that there were 15, small thingies, hair-like structures in it. And every single one of them was praising the Creator in a different way. So he said, this is one such example of what Rasulullah was mentioning as an angel. And you can apply the same to your body. Like you have however many bones, because Rasulullah also talks about there are 300 something angels appointed for each human, is mentioned in one narration. So, which means every bone in your body is praising your Creator in a way. You can extrapolate this actually. I have this many particles, I have this many electrons. So anything that is a thing would be represented pretty much. This is where it takes to. But once you start seeing this, what is happening? The entire universe becomes a masjid. This is the point. When then Quran talks about سَبَّحَ لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. So whatever is in heavens and on the earth praises him, and you say, yes, it's everything, because the verse in there is talking about whatever. It doesn't say whoever. So whatever means anything, like whatever you can call a thing, then becomes praising the Creator. Praising is a conscious act. So this is why now the whole universe becomes worshippers of the Creator. Then you, to the extent that I can see this, you would like to become part of this gathering. Just, I mean, you can relate it to yourself. How do you feel when you go to Eid prayer? Like when they are making takbirat, like you are having different feelings, or in Tarawih, for example. Tarawihs are, in a sense, Iman boost times for us because everybody is praising the Creator, like the mosque is filled up. Even if you are not having a strong, like feeling strong yourself, based on how excited people are, you are getting excited. You get to know your Creator. You feel the presence of your Creator more during Tarawih. Go to Umrah or Hajj. Everybody making tawaf in there, or like as people get into Mina, like millions are in a valley, like as the eye can see, human, and all of them are saying Allahu Akbar. Like you have to be there to really feel it. I think the most similar feeling we can experience is if you have been to any soccer match or something, the entire stadium is jumping up and down, right? The whole universe is jumping up and down by praising the Creator. If I realize this, then I will become part of that. This is why belief in angels really changes the color, the shape of this life, the experience of life. So it is so central in this regard. Yes, can we take the microphone?
While you take the microphone, just one small thing. You mentioned like one ayat says whatever, ma, right? In the Quran, like there is very elegant, the reference to this, like everything is being, having a conscious. In certain ayahs, instead of whatever, the word whoever is used intentionally when referring to things in creation. The word that we, in Arabic, that you would use for conscious beings, like the human beings, in such ayahs, the word whoever is intentionally used to refer to things in creation.
Yeah, so I just want to clarify the spirits that you're mentioning, the spirits of human. Is that angel or
So it's a separate, like animals are separate, but the creator is mentioning that there's another type of spiritual creation that I created there, because humans are not obedient, right? Sometimes I
yeah,
can
that
choose
I'm
not to
confused
obey,
about
right?
because
Yeah.
by the definition, the angels don't have free will, they are sinless, but human spirit have
Yeah.
free will and they can do sins.
So they are obedient creatures. This is how Quran is describing them. Is this the case? Then I need to ask the question, right? And when you look at it, like water is always water. Like, have you seen water behaving like, I don't know, fire? Water behaving like, I don't know, carbon? Water is obedient to whatever it's supposed to be. Like, this is what it means, obedient creatures. They never disobey. But when it comes to Senin is sometimes obedient, sometimes not obedient. So when the creator says angels are obedient, because first I do observe that there must exist such a thing. Then when he says, oh, yes, there do exist, but they're obedient, I say, yes, indeed, they are obedient. But I am different than them. Yes, you are. This is why in the creation story, Allah is telling angels that I am going to create a vicegerent, and angels sort of protest, saying that, are you going to create something that is going to shed blood on earth, right? Can you read the story in the existence today? Yes, you can. If you look at it, humans are how, like the rest of the universe, wherever we are not touching, are living nice in harmony. Angels are living fine. What is the, if you like, outliers to this rule? Some in the animal kingdom, which is a different type of a spirit, and humans. So these are different in terms of how they are created. Animals are different than humans, but humans are different than angels as well. But the point that's being made here is there does exist, there must exist a way of consciousness, a way of life, even in the particles, what we consider to be like dead or like unconscious. So this is why, as Quran introduces it, I need to check, what does this refer to? And then it says, okay, conscious, obedient servants, obedient worshippers. What does worshipper mean? What does obedient mean? Do I observe such a thing? Yes, I do. So this is an angel, then I can identify. Make sense?
In tradition, scholars would say spiritual creations or things, and would consider, for instance, the human spirit, animals, jinns, Satan, angels, right? But they are different type of creatures. So yet it is common to see that when talking about the angel, for instance, spiritual creatures like angels, like you can see such sentences, right? But it doesn't mean that it is the same thing.
So there's a comment.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, like having that consciousness or awareness that the universe is speaking to me, or getting that reminder about like Allah. Like if we need a reminder, like we have access through like the scholars or books or like phone or YouTube, internet. Practically speaking, no one's gonna sit with a tomato and then expect to listen to it. And then if they do practice going in nature and try to get some inspiration and they come back empty, it might not remind them of Allah, so they might get discouraged. So what would the practical implementation of this?
I missed.
No, I just processed it. Like I can rephrase the question the way I understand, and maybe you can correct me. like in practice, I have access to all human, the messengers, scholars, etc. So who cares if I miss the conscious aspect of the other things? Do I need their message? Do I need to hear what they say, how they glorify their creator? I have my YouTube, the channel that I follow, and the guy is keep telling me about my creator anyway. Is that it?
I guess my wife can also answer this in the sense that, yes, Yusuf, you are sometimes washing the dishes and showing that you care about me, but it wouldn't be bad if you once upon a time buy some roses or something. Like, there are many ways in which we convey a message, and it is giving us, like, your creator is not only merciful, your creator is at the same time wise. Like, divine names, which means I get to know my creator with different aspects. So there are things which you can learn, like somebody can come and lecture you about mercy for hours. But observing your mom will tell you way more than what a good scholar can lecture you about mercy, because you observe it in action. If you pay attention, if I pay attention to, somebody can come and lecture about creator being a sustainer, razak, and whatnot. But if I ask the same question to tomato, I am going to hear the message in a way that it touches another aspect of mind. This is why using Quran's terminology talks about believers as they are standing or laying on their side, and then they think about a creation of the heavens and the earth. Like, it's not only saying that go and ask the teacher, go and ask the scholar, go and ask the prophet. It does say this, like listening to prophets is part of the deal, but it's also mentioning creation, يتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض, like thinking about the creation of the heavens and the earth, so that I get to know about my creator in this aspect as well. So if we are not doing this, then, and time to time we don't, then we should ask ourselves, am I doing it properly? Because I am missing a lot of things out there that's speaking to me. I am just turning my back towards them, and I am saying that, no, this teacher is enough for me. So maybe this is the problem that we should double check ourselves. Am I really getting it, or am I supposed to go out? I mean, ideally, yes, it would be nice to go to the the seaside, to the forest, and observe it there. But even if not there, when, like, we ate salad today, like the food that I ate was talking to me. Did I listen to it, or did I waste it? Because our creator says, eat, drink, but do not waste. While eating and drinking, sometimes I'm wasting. I didn't hear, like, if, for example, and some people said, after, as they were leaving the plates, they said, thank you, the food was good and whatnot. They appreciated who cooked the food. But did I appreciate who made, who created, who gave the food? Because the food was saying that, okay, Maryam cooked it nice, but the food further was saying that Maryam is not able to put the taste in me. Like, if I were to have this conversation, did I waste this? So to the extent that I become aware of this consciousness within the existence that I interact, I wouldn't like to waste it. Just like if you were aware that the person sitting right next to you in subway could possibly be qidr, let me use that terminology. If you know that the person sitting right next to you in the subway, although having a very bad clothing, could have been a very deep person of knowledge, right? You wouldn't like to look down upon anybody in the subway. You would just check for them. And you're coming from a Sufi tradition. In Sufi tradition, they talk about know everybody, consider everybody as if they are Khidr. Have you heard about this? So they say, do not look down upon anybody, because Khidr is this hidden wise man. So consider that anybody could be Khidr. So treat them as such. This has a practical outcome, right? You will treat people nicely because you say that maybe this guy is way better than I am, and maybe I can learn something from him, from her. Apply the same to tomato. This consciousness can then say that, well, tomato has something specific to tell me that maybe my sheikh is not aware.
Yeah, I didn't hear about this, but what are like the right questions to ask to those conscious beings to get a proper response?
What was the first word in your question?
It's like, well, what is like the proper questions to ask to those conscious beings to get a proper response back?
I want to say something about what Fahim said first, and we can go back to this, inshallah. The revelation, it's like when you think about it, everything about, the narrations, everything about the Quran, how it, revealed, etc., etc. It's so elegant, like answers almost every questions we have. So the revelation, like let's look at the way revelation worked. It didn't, for instance, came out of nowhere as a whole, right? We say revelation came the part by part, right, step by step, and there are some what we say as asbab al-nuzul, the reasons, occasions of revelations. Something happens in the life of the Prophet ﷺ and companions, an ayah comes. Another thing happens, another ayah comes, right? And we see that, again, from our perspective. We're not saying that God sent it for that reason or that, this or that reason. No, from our perspective, we see that it makes sense. Then each ayah explains, like a commentary, like a interpretation of what you just experienced, what you just lived, right? You live something, an ayah comes, and companions always, with no exception, understood these ayahs based on what they lived. They would say, oh, this ayah is explaining what happened to me yesterday, right? Or it's explaining what we just witnessed. They were always making these links between what is in front of them and what is revealed. So we don't see, for instance, they take the ayah and treat it as a piece of, intellectual, I don't know, the idea. Information, exactly. Thank you. Take it as an information and memorize it, and okay, we're done with it. You wouldn't see that. The ayah is an interpretation of what you just lived experience. So if you take this experience and live part away, if you take the ayah just as an information, then it is not an ayah anymore. It's not a revelation anymore for you. Okay? So if you treat Islamic knowledge in this way and say that, I have these scholars who can tell me, what the ayah is, and then give me some explanations, but just like, you're reading from a book. I explain you how many quarks and protons and whatever the electrons an atom has. I just list you in front of you and give it to you. Did you gain anything? No. You can gain something only if you are studying these atoms. And what I said to you, there's a match between what you study, what you, focusing on, what you are worried or concerned about, and what I give you. If there's a link between the two, then it will become something for you. It will become a message for you. So what I'm trying to say, yes, you will listen your scholars, but you will only understand what they say if you can make connection between what they say and what you ate. What you say, what they say, and what happened to you in the subway. If you cannot make the connection, it is lost. At least, let me put it this way, you're not following the companion's way. You're not following the prophet's way. Right? So you will eat something, and then ayah which says, the one who creates you is the Razzaq, you will say, oh, now I understand. Because I have risk in front of me, the food. If there is no, like we keep saying this as well, if there is no risk in your life, meaning something given to you for you to eat, if you don't see it, there is no razak in your life. No matter how many times you memorize, Allah is razak. If you don't see any risk, something is given to you for you to eat. If you don't see it that way, there is no razak for you. So the same way, you need everything in your life to speak to you, to tell you something, and then the ayahs will come and interpret them. Without both of them, you don't have the message.
And I guess for Onur's question, then what questions am I going to ask to those creatures around me? So in this regard, Quran is giving us examples of that too, right? This is how Ibrahim alayhi salam's journey might be a good example for that, because he was concerned about a very genuine question. Who is my maker? Who is my sustainer? Like, I am realizing that I am being made, but what makes me? Who makes me? He goes and asks to sun, do you make me? Goes and asks to moon, to the stars. You can go and ask to your genes, go and ask to your parents, or whatever you're eating today, or are you going to make me strong? Ask that question to it and see what it says. Because can it say that, yeah, I am able to make you like this? Well, of course, if you ask that question to your dog, it will reply by saying it in its own barking language, but you will understand what it is saying from its body language, the way it acts. Like babies, for example, they learn talking in age 1 or so, but they start eating when they're 6 months. Like up until this point, they're drinking milk. After 6 months, you start feeding them. What does parents do? Let me try starting with potato, right? You're putting it to baby's mouth. If baby throws it out, baby is responding back to you saying, I didn't like it. Without using a word, this is what baby says, and you understand it, right? So do not expect the angel to come up and in pure English speaking to you, oh, this is what the answer is. No, you are going to ask your genuine questions, and then you will listen to how it answers back to you. Quran has very, very interesting examples for that. In order not to make it further controversial, I'll just refer to it and you guys go and check it yourself. When it talks about 2 angels sent to Babil, Harut and Marut, and they were taught things, and when they were teaching it to people, they were warning them that do not do like blasphemy and whatnot. What does that mean? Like, it sounds, again, very mythological. 2 angels were sent down with certain knowledge and teaching it to people. And they were further saying to people, don't do this, like, don't separate between husband and wife. Like, this is how that verse goes. What does this mean, right? Because there are many things in this life that we learn from, I don't know. Anyways, let you think about it. Okay, let's make it as a cliffhanger. But Quran talks about it quite a bit. So we need to ask, what does this mean for me? Otherwise, it simply becomes a story. It's not being helpful. But as we start reading it as seriously, like, what do you mean? And this is what you should be doing in this discussion. And Jazakallah khairan for doing this. Like last week, we talked about something, and now Natalia comes and says, no, I'm not going to be nice. It didn't make any sense. And then she asks for a question. This is very genuine, right? Like she could have been nice and say that, oh, yeah, mashallah, very nice discussion, food is good, and then come next week, right? Sometimes we are doing this to Quran. It's so soothing to listen to Quran, especially when you go to bed. So let's not touch it too much. Just enjoy the audio of Quran, right? Yeah, it doesn't make much sense, but let's keep enjoying the sounds. We shouldn't do that. If I properly and honestly trying to learn, as Natalia was saying, like she explicitly said, my point in here is not to cause trouble. I am really trying to understand. And what you said didn't make sense. I have this and that questions, right? We should do the same with Quran. When Quran mentions angels, when Quran mentions those two angels sent to Babylonians and whatnot, like, what are you trying to tell me with this? Then it opens up. And it does open up. Inshallah, this is the goal.
I would say let's go back to text. But if you have something, okay. So going back to text, then author started in a very interesting way. He said, like a biggest trick of the Satan is to make people believe that there is no such thing as Satan. And look, I've been asking, like, what does it mean? Why author is talking about that? But once we start talking about the angels, the other side of the coin, it became very meaningful that the author started with that. And he also says, because nowadays people whose head is full of materialist ideas, like a second paragraph, they would deny that, he says. So we, materialist minds, we deny this conscious aspect of the creation, right? We do deny, let's be honest. For us, a pillow is just a pillow, fridge is a fridge, apple is just an apple, right? It's a fruit. At most, we say, oh, it is beautiful and tasteful. That's most we can say. But we deny this dimension of the reality, that the consciousness, everything is, aware of the things themselves, praising their creator. We deny this. The same way, author says, just like you deny every conscious, the being in the creation, when it comes to good things, you also deny another type of conscious being in this creation that not leads you or give you the right answers, but misleads you. And in Quranic terminology, Satan. Right? There is another the aspect of this creation. When I look at it, it invokes my the ego sometimes. I say, oh, this is so valuable, I must have it. Or it is better than that because it has gold in it, whatever. Such an aspect of the creation we have. We also deny that as well. And why this is important, when you deny this, do you know what happens? Whatever we have in our society happens. There is no such thing as good or bad. There is no such thing as true or wrong. There are things that are useful. There are things that are not useful. Or there are things that as a society we agree upon. And there are other things as a society we don't agree upon. There's no such thing as good or bad. There's no such thing as guidance or leading you the truth or misleading you. There's no such thing in the creation or in you. As a human being, if you want to fabricate some rules You can do it. This is how our society works. For instance, our law system, like a judicial, whatever it's called, I don't know, system is not based on the idea of norms or idea of good or bad. It is based on when you have a power to make a rule, you write the rule, and rule has to be consistent to each other. When it is consistent, a book of the sentences, then you call it as a good system of law. And what happens, for instance, if you go, like if something happens to you, you are in front of a judge, you say that, this has happened to me. And I mean, every moral being would say that this person is wrong, right? Judge would say, well, what are you talking about? I have rules in front of me. They are consistent set of rules. If your case fit to them, I will call you as the winner. If they don't fit to them, I will call you as the loser. That's how it works. And this is not because, people are bad or whatever. Because the idea is whatever written there defines what is wrong or what is right. But when you see that in the creation, there's this consciousness and they are aware of the reality, and some of them tells me, I was made by this creator, and some of them says, no, I was made by myself, etc. I can distinguish between the two. I can say this is right, this is wrong. At the most fundamental level, when you deny the existence of angels and existence of Satan, you deny the existence of good or bad. So it becomes all fabricated, everything. So this is why, this is so important. An author says, as materialist beings, we deny the existence of Satan. Who cares? No, the existence of Satan means there is an aspect of this reality that is, I hate to use word to objective, but it will, make things easier. So I apologize for using it. But the existence of Satan means you can look at the creation and you can say that certain claims about this creation are objectively wrong. You can say that. The creation itself will witness for that. If there are no such thing as angels or Satans, nothing in the creation can tell me what is right, what is wrong.
Jazakallah khairan. Ahmed has some questions, I guess, that are unanswered. No? So one question that Ahmed asked, we did not answer, that was being mentioned because author was talking about screens that we didn't discuss, correct? But that thing is, like in here, author is talking about 4 different aspects. We focused on existence of angels in depth. And he has a dedicated text for that by itself, the angels. But the aspect that Ahmed is asking, the aspect with having a screen, that question, let me formulate it in another way. In our discussions, we are talking about causes having no effect, right? You can ask the same question there. If they have no effect, why is there this perception of causes? Like tree does not create the apple, yet creator always sends apple attached to the tree. Why is there this false perception of causes existing in there? And you extrapolate it. This applies to everything. If the point is that I am going to know my creator as the giver, why is he apparently using those intermediaries or this perception of at least causality? Why is it there? One answer is here that he's mentioning here. because Ahmed was asking, why is he not directly saying it? Wouldn't it be better? And I'll give an example to this. This is a Middle Eastern style example. And since most of you guys are, all of you guys are from that region, you will relate to it.
Except Natalia.
Except Natalia, yes. So my teacher, who is from Iran, so this is something that he is narrating from his own family. He said his father was a merchant, like he has his own business, but and he was doing well. His father was doing well. So my teacher's elder brother stopped going to school. When he was in high school, the blood is flowing hot, you know, the young man. And 2 weeks he doesn't attend the school. Then the teacher calls father saying that your son is not coming to school. Then father knows that son hasn't been to school for the past 2 weeks. He confronts him and says, what's going on? He says, I'm not going to go to school. I want to start working. Give me a job. The father says, no, don't work with me. Go and work near your uncle's mechanic shop. And his uncle was a mechanic. And then he, on the side, he goes and tells to uncle, treat him so harsh. Teach him how life is. And then he says, it's a mechanic shop. So the guy is saying, okay, send me the wrench. He takes the wrench and then throws it. It's the wrong wrench and curses it and whatnot. Like they treat the boy so bad. Within a week, he goes back to school. And then he said, now his elder brother is a medical doctor. So if his father was to do this, then the relationship between father and son would be like his brother probably will become a drug dealer, right? How dare, what sort of a father are you? This is a very unmerciful treatment. How dare you do this? But he uses a proxy. Like actually his father was cursing him. In fact, his father was throwing the wrench to his head. In fact, but behind the scenes, because the child at this point is not able to distinguish. He is so excited. He's young, right? Father is delivering a message behind a screen so that since he's not able to take it immediately, the moment he's going to get angry, he's getting angry with his uncle or with the worker in the mechanic shop. But actually, it's a very merciful environment in which you can communicate with this foolish young guy, right? This is how we are in this life. We are not always this calm, conscious person who is trying to 100% intellectually 2 + 2 = 4. We are not like that. We have all those ambitions and whatnot. And we are getting angry when some guy comes and hits our car. Like who is happy that somebody crashes into your car and you go out and hug the guy? Oh, thank you very much for, we are getting angry because we don't, there is a wisdom, definitely the creator is creating it for a wisdom, but I don't see it immediately. So this is why the creator is utilizing those causes as veils in between, so that it's a style of education, giving us time to digest it. So this is why initially we get angry, we curse the apparent cause, but the moment we realize what's going on, we say, I forgive the guy who's employed in there. Actually, it was an act of my creator, and I am happy that this happened to me. So now he says the same applies for Satan as well, because Satan is being utilized to trick you, but by this trickery, I get to learn what is right, what is wrong. So now he's generalizing this phenomena of the creator utilizing causes as he says this applies even more or when it comes to how Satan is being utilized as a teacher for us. Sounds good? We have 1 minute. Any concluding remark? Any question? No question? Okay, so inshallah, we are finishing on time, 8:45, mashallah. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة.